Fresh protests erupt after the ANC brings in an outsider as its Tshwane mayoral candidate. Cosatu to protest against Metrorail, accusing it of threatening the livelihoods of workers. A very happy Monday to you. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Duduzile Ramela.
And I'm Sandile Kangose. Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
And tonight our hashtags are local elections and World Refugee Day.
We start with this. A feud between two key ANC players competing to be mayor of Tshwane has forced the party to bring in an outsider as its candidate. Former Public Works Minister Thoko Didiza has been named as the ANC's contender to lead the country's capital.
Thank you very much.
Thoko Didiza is not part of the ANC's Tshwane Regional Executive Committee, but she's been brought in to neutralize the competition between Khosienzo Ramokgopa, the outgoing mayor, and Mapiti Matsena, who were both vying for the Tshwane post.
One of our difficulties has been that the intensity of the competition in Tshwane had led to a breakdown of the relationships between two key individuals in that region.
The ANC is also counting on Didiza to save its crumbling credibility among voters.
Comrade Didiza is a senior and seasoned leader of our movement with extensive experience in governance. Her nomination for mayoral candidacy demonstrates our commitment to strengthening the capacity of leadership at local government level across the board.
How's it, guys?
Yeah. Didiza has the support of the province and the region.
Comrade Togo is given an opportunity to thrive. At the political level, we'll make sure that we provide the necessary infrastructure to allow for conditions for her to thrive, because ultimately we want to serve the interests of the people of Tshwane.
Violence around the ANC's list processes has once again reared its ugly head. The party has confirmed that a member who was shot outside the venue of the Tshwane meeting on Sunday has since died.
The ANC condemns this behavior in the strongest terms and will act decisively where it is proven that any of our members were responsible for the shooting.
The name of the deceased has not yet been made public. Ngambi, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, a Tshwane Metro Police vehicle has been overturned in the city centre. It's understood that it was tipped over by a group of people believed to be disgruntled ANC members. They're unhappy with the nomination of Thoko Didiza as the party's mayoral candidate for Tshwane. They say they were not informed of her nomination. ANC leaders in Tshwane are expected to meet with disgruntled members. News 24 reporter Karabo Mwebe was on the scene at the time of the incident.
It was a group of between 50 to 100 ANC supporters who had gathered at Court Traffic in Pretoria. They wanted to brief the media, and they claimed that they were not consulted over the nomination of Thoko Didiza as the mayoral candidate for ANC in Tshwane. Their anger boiled over, and as Metro Police tried to come and quell the situation, they turned on the officers. A group of about 10 of them overturned the Metro Police car, and then the officers had to leave the scene, fleeing.
In other news, Cosatu is accusing Metrorail of threatening the livelihoods of workers. It's preparing to protest against the rail service in the Western Cape on Wednesday. But the mass action isn't expected to be too disruptive.
Cosatu says unreliable rail and bus services are causing its members to lose money and putting their jobs at risk. Western Cape Secretary Tony Ehrenreich says workers are having pay docked for being late due to train delays and are spending money on tickets for trains that don't run.
Cosatu is going on strike against Metrorail and the City of Cape Town and the provincial government to ensure that there's a proper public transport system in place. Because often workers get to work late. We're going to be assisting workers so that they're not prejudiced because of the bad transport from the My City or from Metrorail. So any worker, whether they're Cosatu members or not, can join the strike, and Cosatu will defend them against any instances and action taken against them linked to the public transport disaster.
The union is demanding that Metrorail refund the money that workers have lost due to late trains. It also wants more trains running to reduce overcrowding, increased public transport between rural towns, and for employers to stop disciplining workers who arrive late because of train delays. Cosatu says thousands of workers are expected to participate in the legal strike on Wednesday afternoon. It's being held for only an hour and a half from 2 p.m. Amy McIver, Cape Town.
Work is underway to improve South Africa's refugee policies. Government is restructuring its processes to ensure better access to reception centres and a quicker turnaround on applications. Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba has recommitted to protecting refugees as the country marks World Refugee Day. But recent research suggests, not all South Africans share these sentiments.
African nationals say they find it difficult to live and work in South Africa.
If I'm not documented, I'm very easily taken for granted, to say. I'm living in Soweto at the moment. It's a refugee center.
Refugees also have to face xenophobia. According to recent data from the South African Human Rights Commission, only 64% of South Africans accept foreigners.
I think we need to maintain in our country a commitment to our international commitments to protecting refugees and migrants.
Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba says most South Africans are supportive of refugees. But he urges citizens not to blame refugees for pre-existing problems. Humanitarian group Doctors Without Borders agrees.
We should be doing more and we are not doing enough. I think that given particularly the history of South Africa, the history of the pain of apartheid and what it took, we've just come from celebrating June 16th and respecting the bravery of that class of 1976 and what they did to change the trajectory of our history, that we should never make the same mistake again and treat another fellow human being with disrespect for their human dignity.
Gigamba says his department is doing its part. Plans are underway to restructure application centres for refugee and asylum seekers.
World news now, when Turkish border guards are accused of shooting dead at least 11 Syrian refugees, mostly from one family. They'd attempted to flee intense fighting in a village close to the border. Turkey denies the claim, saying only warning shots had been fired. This comes as the UN Refugee Agency says the number of people displaced by conflict is at the highest level ever recorded, now standing at over 65 million people. 6 people have been killed in clashes between protesting teachers and police in Mexico. More than 100 others, mostly police officers, have been injured. The teachers were protesting against the arrests of 2 high-profile union leaders last week on charges of corruption. Police say they were trying to clear roadblocks when gunmen opened fire on both sides. And massive rescue operations are underway in China, where there's been widespread flooding. Homes, roads and bridges have been washed away, with floodwaters reaching up to 3 meters in some counties. Hundreds of thousands of people have been affected, but there have been no reports of any fatalities.
Time now for your social media with Dudu Zile, who's standing by.
It is indeed. Thank you so much, Sandile. Former SAFA CEO Leslie Sidibe is suing the organization. Sidibe wants 5 million rand in damages for defamation of character from the football governing body. He's currently banned from all football-related events for the next 5 years for allegedly being involved in the plot to fix Bafana Bafana matches before the 2010 FIFA World Cup. SAFA has confirmed it's received legal papers from Sidibe. And investigations are underway to determine the cause of a fire that engulfed a popular Port Elizabeth beachfront pub and restaurant. The train on Kings Beach burned down last night. It opened in August last year, but was not insured. No foul play is suspected. We do love to hear from you. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct, or you can head on over to our website. That's eNCA.com/direct. After the break, your business news as well as your weather. Money matters now, and mobile operator MTN is talking up its newly appointed CEO, Rob Schutter. It says he has the relevant experience in telecommunications to take the company to new heights. However, Schutter is getting a cold reception from the Black Management Forum.
MTN reckons it'll have a bright future with Rob Schutter at the helm. The company's board says it looked long and hard to find a CEO suited to the demands of its future strategy. Schutter currently has a senior management role in the Vodafone Group and was in the senior management at Standard Bank and Nedbank.
I'm not sure that makes him the perfect candidate. I think he's certainly going to bring a lot of skills on board. MTN is not only expanding in those into financial services per se. It's still a telecommunications company expanding from mobile into fixed line environment and also IT services. Yes, financial services are most likely going to be expanded to form an additional revenue stream, and that's, I think, globally where we see a lot of mobile companies heading in that direction. I think just apart from the fact that he's got experience that can be used to expand into a financial system potentially, I think just the fact that he is from his outside of South Africa experience as a combination of financial and telecommunications experience makes him a good candidate.
Schutter replaces Sifiso Tabengwa, who left the company in the midst of an ugly legal battle in Nigeria. The mobile phone operator was fined for failing to disconnect over 5 million unregistered SIM cards. At least one expert believes Schutter will have a tough task recovering from the 25 billion rand settlement with Nigerian authorities.
It's tough territory going into Nigeria, so obviously there's just a position. Yes, he has in the trade-off, I suppose. He's got extensive European operations experience. He's got some South African, so local operations experience, or through Vodacom Group also some African, but not as extensive as MTN. So he will, I think, have to learn about the African environment because it is very different, as you indicated, certainly to Europe.
Meanwhile, the Black Management Forum doesn't seem happy with Schutter's appointment. When asked for comment, it directed us to an earlier statement where it calls for major companies like MTN to hire black professionals. But that's not going to change the mobile operator's decision. Schutter starts in July next year. Metrorail, Johannesburg.
Right, let's see how the markets perform today. Check in with the Weather Center now. Here's Louis.
Good evening, everyone. Tomorrow is officially the shortest day of the year, so let's take a look at what your winter solstice weather conditions will be. And it's going to be clearer and warmer over the far western parts, while in the east, behind a cold front, cooler air will be pushing in for KZN as well as parts of Mpumalanga, along with cloudy conditions and a possibility for a bit of rainfall. Sunshine through the central parts, including the Free State as well as in Gauteng. And here we see KwaZulu-Natal is going to be mostly cloudy on Tuesday, along with a bit of light rain in places, keeping temperatures well below 20 degrees. It's going to be a much cooler day for the province. And in the Eastern Cape, the only area where there could be some rainfall will be Umtata. That will be first thing in the morning. Otherwise, it's going to be a cold day across this area. Temperatures are very slowly recovering over the next few days for the Western Cape. Tuesday will still be quite cold. Langebaan at 16 degrees will be slightly warmer near the western coastline. And another cold day lies ahead for the Northern Cape. Very cold across the southern parts. We're certainly going to see frost across this area. Very similar for the Free State. It's going to be a crisp winter day across the province. 15 degrees is a maximum for Bloemfontein. And in the northwest, it will be somewhat warmer than that. Some areas will even get above 20 degrees Celsius, including Mahikeng, although it will be a chilly morning across the province. For Limpopo, mostly sunny weather expected, but cloud cover will be increasing for the Lowveld. A much cooler day lies ahead for Phalaborwa, a high of 25, and it will be cloudier and cooler all across the eastern parts of Mpumalanga, a possibility for light rain in Mbombela as well as around Mkondo. Sunshine on the other hand for Gauteng, where we can expect afternoon highs around 20 degrees, but once again Pretoria will be slightly warmer than most areas. A look ahead to Wednesday, and there'll be a possibility for light morning rain along that eastern escarpment, while all across the western half of the country it's going to be sunny and a little bit warmer, and that warming trend will continue into Thursday when it will be dry for all of South Africa. That's all from the Weather Centre. Goodbye for now.
Thank you, Louis. After the break, we tell you about a contest to make wedding dresses out of toilet paper, but it's not what you think. Welcome back. We bring you a peek at a contest to make wedding dresses out of toilet paper, while horror fans are in for a treat at the box office.
Time now for our fix of entertainment news.
Flushed with excitement, 1,500 designers put their toilet paper skills on display. No, it's not what you're thinking. It's the annual toilet paper wedding dress contest, and participants were only allowed to use tissue, glue, tape, needles and thread. The winning dress, dubbed Winter Lust, was designed by a Brooklyn resident who was inspired by Mother Nature. Pope Francis got up close and personal with a 6-month-old tiger. He was celebrating the Jubilee for circus performers and traveling show people. When he tried to pet the cub, the startled tiger moved around and snapped at the Pope. But that didn't stop him. And calling all horror fans, the 7th chapter of the Resident Evil game will be released in January.
I was raised in a deep, dark hole.
But it offers an unusual twist. It allows gamers to get immersed in their very own horror story.
Bravo!
It's a totally new dimension as to how you experience the fear, especially because in virtual reality, the headset tracks your movement and you can look around the environment using your own head and see everything around you. It's going to blow you away completely.
A reminder of the day's top stories before we say goodbye. Fresh protests erupt after the ANC brings in Thoko Didiza as its Tshwane mayoral candidate. Cosatu to protest against Metrorail, accusing it of threatening the livelihoods of workers. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct to you.
It is indeed your favorite drama. Rhythm City is up next.
We do love to hear from you. You can send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or of course, you can just talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, and the handle that you need is @eNewsDirect.
Until tomorrow night, have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.